Welcome to the Stardust website. Stardust is a little one-man operation that I own based out of Austin, Texas. If you are a current or former investor in oil and gas exploration, or even a potential investor in oil and gas exploration, please allow me to pitch you on a couple of projects for which we are currently looking for funding. On the first of these projects, which we call the lease bank, we're looking for $100,000. For this, we're going to buy some leases on a prospect that we've already identified, that my geologist partner John Selby has identified through detailed mapping on a area in the northern portion of the Illinois Basin, which is located basically in central Illinois. And additionally, in addition to buying these leases, the $100,000 is going to fund a expanded evaluation of the same trend on which this little prospect is located. This $100,000 will not drill the prospect. What we'll do is we will put the prospect together, complete the detailed expanded evaluation of the trend, which we are confident will shake out some additional similar type prospects to the one that we want to lease. And then we will take that prospect that's leased plus the other ones that we've identified and bring in industry partners who will drill them. And for this, we'll sell our prospect, our leases for a profit. We'll get a prospect fee for the additional prospects that we've identified, probably $25,000 for each of them. And therefore, this leasing will probably be done in 3 months. The expanded geological evaluation will be done in that same amount of time. And ideally, or potentially, 6 months from now to 8 months from now, the lease bank investors will have all their money back plus a nice profit, and be waiting to see how the drilling program turns out. The terms that we're proposing on this lease bank are that the lease bank investors get all their money back plus a $25,000 profit before John and I come in and share equally in any proceeds that come after that. As I said, we're going to require the drilling of this initial prospect and maybe the drilling of additional prospects that we identify. And when these wells are drilled, we'll have an override and a back-end after payout that we'll share with the investors. The potential exists very realistically that if the drilling is successful on this prospect we've identified and any of these other prospects that we do identify with the additional expanded geological valuation, then the lease bank participants could easily receive 10 to 1 on their $100,000 investment. It's not there is, of course, a slight risk that you will lose some money on this lease bank investment, but we're very confident that we can get these leases purchased and the additional prospects identified and sold to industry participants for a drilling commitment and a profit. So I consider the risk extremely low that you're going to lose money on this, and the potential for a big return is very real. So we've been wanting for a long time to raise $2 million for a drilling fund, and still looking for our first investor on that. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we're thinking that this little $100,000 investment may be a good vehicle to bring some investors in, get them used to working with us, comfortable with who we are and what we're doing, liking the money that comes back to them, and do some more things with them. So that's the goal, is to have some happy investors that want to keep coming back and doing other things that we that we propose and that we come up with as we go along. Um, as I said a minute ago, the other project is the drilling fund. Uh, it's been a dream of mine for years to put together some investors into a drilling fund, which will pool all those investors' money. The Stardust and my partner John Selby will manage the fund, and what we'll do is we will put the word out that we have $2 million or hopefully even more to invest in outside operated prospects. And when people know that we have this money and that these two professional explorationists, John Selby and myself, are managing this fund, they'll start calling us and wanting to show us their prospects and get us to take a little piece of them. And what the $2 million will ultimately, or the $3 or $4 million, whatever we end up with, will ultimately be divided into 5 or more high quality prospects on which we have done the detailed behind the scenes confirmation of the representations being made by the people that want us to participate in their prospects. The oil and gas exploration, as you may already know, is a really great numbers game. The chances of success in drilling just one prospect are not that great. Usually 1 in 2, 1 in 3, depending on what the nature of your prospect is, and the return, of course, makes up for that risk. 1 in 2 chance of success with a 3-to-1 return or 4-to-1 return. You can make money on deals like that, but you can't do just one. You have to make that numbers game, that those numbers average out in your favor by being in several projects. You get in 1 or you get in 2 and they both may not work out and you lost all your money all of a sudden. But you get into 5 and odds are 2 or 3 of them are going to work and you're going to be on the positive side on your investment. So that's the concept behind the drilling fund. And the other side to the concept behind the drilling fund is that it's not a new concept. Drilling funds have been around for forever. I've been in this business 40 years, and John's been in the business close to that long. He's a couple of years younger than me. But we've seen these drilling funds, be a part of projects that we're involved in for as long as we've been doing this. But usually, in almost every case that I can recall, these drilling funds are managed by a big company with a large staff, fancy offices, and the investors end up having to pay for all that. We are confident that we can manage this drilling fund very proficiently with just me and John Selby and the services of an outside accounting firm for our bookkeeping and reporting needs. And that translates. I office out of my house. This video is being shot in my little home office, and John offices out of his house, and we don't have a big fancy office with a large overhead. We don't have a big staff, and that translates into better terms for the investors. The terms we usually see in these bigger drilling funds are really scary for the investor. It's the guy that sells them on the idea gets a 10% commission. Say they invest $100,000, or $90,000 goes to the drilling fund. Then the drilling fund takes a 25% management fee, and they take a 25% after payout interest in any successful well. And all of a sudden the poor investor doesn't have a chance. Well, this is the reason that people invest in oil and gas exploration is because it's a viable, real, solid avenue for investing and creating wealth. But you can't do it when somebody's taking all your profits away before you even get started. So this low overhead Galaxy Partners Drilling Fund that Stardust Energy is offering takes a 12% management fee, out of which we pay all expenses of managing the drilling fund. And the only other thing that we take is a 10% interest in each well after it pays out. And hence the investor has a real chance. Anyway, this drilling fund, as I've said, has been a dream of mine for years. Initially, I thought I was there 2 years ago when oil was still at $90, and I finally got this website up after many years of working on it. Unbeknownst to me, when I got the website up, oil had already started its slide from above $100 all the way down to ultimately $26. The good news is that most of the time in the last 2 years, oil has been trading around in the 40s, and there are good, viable drilling prospects with good economics, solid economics that work with the oil price of $40, because not only has the oil price declined, but the price of drilling has declined, and that's because there's less than a third as many rigs operating today as there was 2 years ago, and the ones that are, accordingly, the supply and demand works to reduce the cost of drilling and completing wells. So unfortunately, the cost didn't decline as much as the oil price did, but still, the economics are not that much different than they were when oil was above $100, and so we can find lots of projects to invest in where the economics work at $40 oil. Then the other reason that now is a good time to do this drilling fund is because we've already experienced this decline in oil prices, and there's not a lot of room to go too much lower than what it already is, and the potential is arguably much greater that you're going to have a price increase from our current levels than you are a price decrease. So one thing is for sure is we can drill these wells inexpensively today, or 6 months from now, or a year from now, and potentially benefit when the price of oil increases, when we're producing these wells that we drill during that time for the next several years. So anyway, as I said, this website is all about raising money for that drilling fund. Hope you'll consider investing in one of the 2 projects that I've just told you about, and very pleased that you have taken the time to look at our site. And if you have any questions or want to talk further about more details, then just please don't hesitate to contact me. And thanks again, and you have a good day.